Today we welcome Emmy Speropoulos, a reporter at Fox 13 News in Memphis and an Emmy award-winning anchor and reporter with more than 18 years of professional experience in the television news industry. Emmy shares her story and a fair share of setbacks and challenges she has faced along the way. Today, Emmy challenges us on persevering through setbacks and learning how to live at a slower pace. So let's get to it and meet Emmy Speropoulos in the green chair.
Hi.
Hi, Emmy. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for asking me. I'm honored.
This is fun. Okay, so I have to ask, is this awkward not being the interviewee in a conversation?
It is.
Okay.
I actually think this is maybe only the third time that I've ever been interviewed. And in fact, the first and second actually started when the pandemic started.
Oh, okay.
And it was via Zoom.
Okay.
So, I mean, I mean, honestly, being in TV, I started in TV in 1994. So this is only the third time that I've ever been interviewed. So I'm a little nervous, actually.
Oh, really? I was like, I'm a little nervous. So let's be nervous together. Like, I'm interviewing a pro interviewer. So, like, how do you do that?
No, you're doing a great job.
No, thank you.
You're
thank
doing
you.
a great
I
job.
am so thankful you're here with us.
Thank you.
And I know people probably know you or familiar with you. I'd love for us to just like dive into your story.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love, you're so honest, you're so transparent, you're so vulnerable. I love that about you.
Thank you.
But what I love about your story is you have like seen and like gone through some pretty like impressive in like a massive way setbacks. Like what most people would say, forget it. I'm
right.
You have just you have done some pretty cool things getting through that. So I would love for us to really kind of dive into your story and let's talk about some of these setbacks. Let's start with moving. You were in Memphis and your husband got offered a job in Destin.
Yes, my husband got offered a job in Destin, and this was in 2009. So I came to Memphis. I actually started here in 1999 and met my husband, not in TV, but I started doing TV reporting. Had never been to Memphis, actually. And really just applied for a job and was like, this is going to be a stop on the map for me, you know. And so, yes, my husband comes home from work and he says, what do you think about moving to Destin, Florida? And I was like, you're crazy. I mean, no. Any other woman would have been like, yes, let's move to Destin, Florida. But I was like, well, honey, I've always wanted to live in Florida, but I'm a career woman. I mean, I'm a TV gal, And before I came to Memphis, I had already, I started in TV in 1994. So I was kind of in the beginnings of my career, And so I was like, yeah, I'm not interested. And he was like, I remember the conversation verbatim. I was upstairs and I had just gotten a treadmill because I had just had my oldest daughter. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to go to the gym. So I was on the treadmill, and he's like, what do you think about that? I'm like, no. I was like,
Yeah.
He said, okay, let's pray about it. And I was like, yeah, okay, you go ahead and do that. But I already had it in my mind. So we prayed about it. And a few days later, the company came back, and they offered him a pretty good chunk of money. Enough that I didn't have to work if I didn't want to. And he said, Amy, I really think the Lord's calling us to do this. And I was like, when I say, like, I feel myself heating up talking to you about it now because I almost feel like I remember that conversation so well. And I said, okay, all right. So we packed up, and took a smaller truck. I actually gave my work, this is how funny this works, 6 weeks notice because I was like, I kept adding on to it. I was like, I'll give you one more week. I'll give you one more week. I'll give you one more week. And they were like, when is she going to go? No, they were, it was a good situation. But so our house here in Collierville was on the market. We were renting a house in Florida. And we did that. Our house, we got an offer within 2 days that our house in Collierville went on the market. But my real estate agent was like, no, this is so low, you're not going to take it. That's the last offer we ever got.
Wow.
And finally, the real estate agent who was not a Christian, by the way, or maybe she was, I don't know. I don't know if she was, maybe she was, but she said, Amy, I'm going to tell you, y'all are not meant to be in Florida. I have had, and she gave me some number, like the amount of open houses and showings she had done, and she said, I just don't think God wants this house to sell. I don't think you're meant to be in Florida. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of crazy, but okay. So Scott kept working. I got pregnant with second baby.
Okay.
And this was halfway probably into 2009. And you may remember, but we hit a
Massive recession. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And basically, Scott came home from work when we had the mortgage in Collierville, the rent in Florida, and said, you're not going to believe this, but they just cut my salary by more than in half.
Yeah, exactly.
More than in half. And I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry because I honestly thought that I had dealt with this clearly, but it was hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had no one in Florida. I mean, we had a few friends, but my family was in Alabama, his family was in Missouri, and had a great church that we went to.
Yeah, yeah.
And boy, when I tell you, I mean, we just, we clung to that church. And Steve Vigalis and his wife Jackie, who are still wonderful friends of ours both, ironically enough, he grew up in the Greek church and went out to start his own non-denominational church in Miramar Beach. But anyway, also during that time and leading up to that time, because I wasn't working before I got pregnant, I spiraled into an addiction, pretty heavy. And really took my drinking to the next level.
Yeah.
Had it not been for destiny, and it's funny because when we walked in the church, the first words out of our mouth, of course, Steve and his wife Jackie said, well, you're from Memphis, where are you from? Oh, we go to Hope, I've heard great things about Hope. But I got involved with the women, my husband got involved in the men. I mean, it was like we were there when we were not.
Yeah.
We were there.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, I was still drinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was still, because I thought I can do this on my own. I can do until the job thing happened.
Yeah.
And when the job thing happened,
it spiraled a little bit.
It just went out of control. Yeah. It went crazy. And so the real estate agent called and she said, I just don't really think you're meant to be. And so Scott took the first job he could get back in Memphis.
Okay.
We moved back to Memphis and just got back in our house that never sold.
Oh, okay.
And but he had, still it wasn't very much more than what he was making when they cut his pay.
Okay.
Okay. So we basically, I like to say we went from here to here to here financially.
Okay.
Okay. And we had all the same bills, if not more, because we had the mortgage in Florida. Right, exactly. Yeah. And about to have baby number 2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was a lot of really we didn't do Zoom then, of course, but a lot of phone calls with my family and with his family, like keeping me on the ledge. You're going to make it. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to get better. But I couldn't see it, Jessica.
Yeah.
I could not see it. It was dark for me.
Yeah.
It was very dark. So we moved back to Florida. Moved back to Collierville.
Yeah.
And I had Ashlyn. I started talking to the news director at another TV station, and she at first didn't have anything, and then she came to me about a month later and she said, we've got this part-time thing. Would you be interested? I don't know, and I was like, absolutely I would. But the part-time thing turned out to be at 2 o'clock in the morning, which was...
Yeah. With kids.
Yes.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I took it.
Uh-huh.
But my drinking...
Yeah. Just kept...
It was really bad. And two, you know, and I've been pretty transparent about this, really, with everyone. My father died of this disease in his 50s. His father died of this disease in his 50s. So I grew up with an alcoholic father, and I remember clearly when my dad said to me, "I'll never die of alcoholism because only weak people die of alcoholism." Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's an addiction, you know, and it...
I feel like that's an important piece of your story, too, in saying, I think I got this under control. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm stressed. I'm anxious. This is normal for me.
Right.
And what was normal for you maybe wasn't really the normal.
At all. And really, I mean, you know, as moms, well, first of all, this is one of my bad character defects. I'm a control freak. I want to control things. I tried to do that with my first daughter, and it about sent me, I had postpartum depression. And I mean, you know, because you can't control a newborn baby.
No.
But you should have seen my notebook. Bottle, nap, poopy diaper, pee-pee diaper.
Yeah.
I mean, and then finally one day my husband was like, "What are you doing? This is a baby. You can't control it." I was like, "No, if I can control it, everything will be better." Well, no, that's not, it doesn't work like that, Amy, you know.
Yeah.
But my drinking, I thought I could control it.
Yes.
And the real deal is, and what I've learned through a lot of people and a lot of prayer and a great program that I'm in now, is that if you are an alcoholic, you have zero control. The minute that you take that first drink, it's over for you.
Yeah.
It's over. And as I witnessed with my dad and his dad, it's not going to end well. It's just not, you know.
So you have the setback with the job. You have the setback in coming to terms with this drinking thing maybe a little bit out of control.
Right.
And tell me, didn't you have a turning point, a breaking point with your...
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was working very early mornings. And I had, you know, and I've heard a lot of addicts call it their rock bottom moment, and I had my rock bottom moment. And it was, I was in the vehicle, and all three of my children were in the vehicle, and I don't even know how I made it from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And when I got home, my daughter, my oldest, was about 5. The other 2 were in car seats. And she was just devastated and called my husband at work. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon and said, "You've got to come home. Something's not right with Mom." And I had a glass coffee cup like this, and I threw it at her and barely missed her. And my husband came home, and he was like, I can't do this. I can't do it. And, you know, he had told me that before, but I listened this time to what he said, and I knew in my heart of hearts that this was it.
Yeah.
And he said to me, "I will take these kids from you." And it was really bad, you know, and I just, so that, it was a Wednesday. That Thursday, my alarm went off at 2 o'clock in the morning. I drove into work. I called an 800 number. If, you know, you you know what I'm saying. Are you an alcoholic? I made it to work, and as I'm walking in the door, a friend that I'm still very good friends with, a Christian, he immediately caught my eye, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I just lost it, and I was like, "I'm not okay. I'm not. It's really bad." And he and I are still very good friends, and he's just said, "You know, God is going to take you through this. He's going to carry you through." And 3 weeks later, I made my way to Hope. to the recovery program here
Yeah.
on the second floor.
Yeah.
And walked in and sat back there and cried just like I am.
You know, when you were telling me too about when you walked in that room, what I love about this is, number one, you're being so honest and transparent. Like, thank you for sharing the story.
Sure.
This is so hard to, I know you're rehashing all of this. And even though it was so long ago, it still is so, I mean, it's still part of your story, like so part of your story.
Yeah.
When you walked in that room, you said you saw someone that you just admired, and
Right.
you literally were like, "Oh, you're struggling with alcoholism. I'm struggling with alcoholism," and you
couldn't
had
believe
no
it.
idea.
I had no
But it
idea.
normalized the fact that we can, like, number one, things aren't always as they appear.
Right.
But then number two, like, it normalizes that people have addictions, and
Right.
we can go through this together.
Right, right. And you know, I think that not just I think society has such a stigma
Yes.
on addiction.
So you start going to the recovery program,
12-step program, and it was wonderful.
and you start going through that process.
I do. Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
start going through that process, and yes, and so I just celebrated 7 years sobriety in March.
Congratulations!
Yes.
Wow,
So
that's exciting.
it's so it's gosh, it's such a thank you, Lord. It's such a blessing. I mean,
Yes.
it is such a blessing. I'm just you know, I'm beyond grateful. I never really imagined a world in the end of my addiction without drinking. And when I started in this program, it was March 5th, and I remember saying to the woman that you referred to that I'm still very good friends with, I said, I can't do this. We go to the beach in June. What am I going to do? And she said, you get through this day, this hour, and you don't have a drink. You pray for God to take the desire from you, and that's all you need to do. And I still try to do that.
Wow.
Because I get overwhelmed and I get stressed, and Lord, just help me through this day. Jesus, just help me through this day. Help me through this hour. Help me through this second. You know.
And there's a peace that happens with that.
Yes.
And so you're working through this, and then fast forward, you have a bike
April 4th, I was riding my bike like I did, exercise in the neighborhood. I was not wearing a helmet, and I came across the street and was trying to get up on the sidewalk, which I know you're not supposed to do, but I was trying to actually cut around traffic because I knew school was going to be letting out and stuff like that, and a driver hit me head on. And I was thrown from the bike, and all I remember is I turned this way to get out of his way, and I saw the grill coming towards me. And I was thrown from the bike. I did pass out for a few minutes and hit my head. And this man had seen the whole thing happen and ran from his driveway and was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I came to, and I've never had anything happen to me medically. I mean, I guess my mother was a pretty good helicopter mom because nothing ever happened. I didn't break a bone. I didn't hurt anything ever. So I just I looked at my leg, and I was like, something is not, and I hear that if the pain is that bad that you pass out. I guess that's what I did. But turns out I had broken 2 bones. This is what they said, the fib and tib, whatever, both sides of my ankle, and chipped my kneecap. And the ambulance came, and I remember this like it was 2:50. My daughter gets out of school at 3, and I said to this lady, I said, please call my daughter and tell her, do not tell her I've been in an accident, just tell her that mommy's going to be late, and call my husband. This lady, so sweet, she was like, Haley, your mom's just been hit by a car. I promise you. No, She tells me this story now. She's laughing like you now, but it was not funny.
No, not in that moment.
It was not funny. And so they called my husband, and he was in a meeting, and he was like, is she okay? They rushed me to the hospital. And as I learned, it was, I just waited for a long time. They didn't want to give me anything because they thought maybe I had a concussion. And so that was setback. Number like 455. I lost count by that time.
Now, you had to go into, like, I mean, we were just talking about this, right? So you can't move. Like, they said you cannot move. If you move, you're having surgery.
Right.
And so how long are you having to, like, lay in your bed?
4 months bed rest.
4 months bed rest.
4 months. I've always been a big prayer person, but I've never been a good meditator person. And I had always heard when you start meditating, when you start adding that to your quiet time, your time with Jesus will really change. So I was forced to do that. And to me, meditating is listening and being still long enough, which I'm not good at, to hear and remove the distractions so you hear what Jesus is saying to you. So for 4 months, that's what I did.
Wow.
I mean, it was extremely hard. I had to let go of everything and let my husband do and let others do, which, I've since discovered women are not good at letting others do. It's hard to and I don't know, maybe it's a mom thing, because I have talked to my mother about it.
Yeah.
And she's like, it kind of is a mom thing to let your kids go, even when it's with your husband.
Yeah.
You always think, well, no, I can do that better, I can do that better, I can do that better, I can do it. If she's with me, she's in my control. But I had no choice.
Yeah. So it's also a control thing.
Huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And couple this in, because I had this much damage, I was in an excruciating amount of pain.
Yeah. So I love, like, number one, that you're just, like, leaning into all of these lessons and just kind of giving us so much of your story. So thank you for that. And then also, can you lean in on some lessons on this? Like, first of all, let's talk a little bit about your setbacks. How did you push through those? I mean, that is, and I don't even want to say push through. I mean, I want to say it's almost like, how did you persevere through those? I mean, it would be real easy to give up after each thing. I mean, after the Florida, and it would be really easy to get just kind of lost in discouragement, addiction, bike accident. I mean, there's a lot of things that would make me probably be like, forget this. Like,
oh, so many times.
Yeah. So what helped? What helped you persevere through that?
So I've always been a big, the sticky notes.
Yeah.
I'm a list maker. I have, my husband tells me now you can do it on your phone, and I'm like, please don't act like I'm 12,000 years old. I know I can do it. But I like the physical seeing of the list.
Yeah.
So off to the side of my mirror, every morning in the bathroom, I have Bible verses, all written right there. And I have to look at them when I'm getting ready, brushing my teeth or doing whatever. And that reminds me of be still. Don't be anxious. Sometimes I have to just be reminded to breathe.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a good breather. I discovered. I'm like that. But also, really and truly, I think just taking time for Amy. And
that's good.
You have to. I'm not good at that. But I learned from a friend. She is also the godly woman, mom of 3 boys. She used to tell me the way she liked to pray was lying down prostrate on the floor. And I mean, why not do that? I always hit my knees, and it did help me when I was on my knees to pray all the time. So I started doing that, and I'm pretty positive that sometimes my kids were like, "What's wrong with mom?" But they got it,
Yeah.
because they let me be,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm laying on the floor, and I still do that. It grounds me. And another thing that I really have to do, I'm not good at this, and I'll be 50 in a few, maybe little year, I don't know, soon. I have to remind myself that I am worthy. Yeah.
That negative self-talk, kind of countering
I have
it.
bad negative self-talk.
Yeah.
Yep. And I really wish that I could tell you where it came from. I've been to a lot of counselors to try to tell me where it came from. I don't know. But I have to constantly tell myself that I'm the child of a great king,
Yes.
that I'm worth it. And I get great inspiration from listening to music. In fact, Danny Cosby is a very dear friend. Gary Gowan, Effie. And I mean, when I tell you that if I could just pop up their music, I get great inspiration from that.
Yeah.
Music ministers my soul like
Yeah.
you would not. Christian music.
Yeah.
Christian music.
Yeah.
And that's something I did in Florida, actually.
Yeah.
When we were going through this, I was driving to the gym one day or something, and I turned on a Christian radio station, and I heard, "Give us 30 days and see what you get." And I thought, well, what the heck? I might as well, you know. That 30 days was about 13 years ago. And I'm still listening.
Well, I mean, I think it's part of like what we're filling our minds with. I mean, I've heard so many people talk about like
100%.
You know, it's again, it kind of feeds into that positive self-talk that you're talking about. Is like
Huge.
I have to be reminded of positive things. I have to be reminded of good truths. You know,
Yes.
They may be hard truths, but they may be good. They're going to
Yes.
point me towards goodness.
Yes.
And I feel like that's so key.
Oh, it's so key because, you know, and I can get myself into, if I am standing in line at the supermarket, oh, this is a bad one, and I'm looking to those this candy and the magazines. I'm like, why don't I look like that? Well, I know in my head, I know in my head that she doesn't look like that,
Yeah,
that she's
she's
been
photoshopped,
airbrushed.
yeah.
Yes, but it's like my friend that I told you that
Yeah.
I'm still friends with.
Yeah.
Stand in your truth. And today I know that my truth is that I am a child of God. I'm sober. I'm a mom and I'm a wife. And that is enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? But if I allow myself to sit in my head, I'll think that's not enough.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, multiple times, I mean, I think I even was telling you this when we were talking, is just the idea of just like, which kind of plays into, I think, what you're going to say about slowing down, is kind of disconnecting from social media and being able to say, I got to be careful what I'm looking to. I got to be careful what I'm filling my mind with.
Yes.
And I'd love for you to lean into lessons on that as well. I mean, I love hearing from
Yeah.
people who are, I'm a little bit like you, I don't like to sit still for too long.
Right.
And I like to move, go. You were forced to have to stay still. And so how does that now translate to your life post being forced?
Yes,
Like
yes.
what are some practices you've implemented?
Well, and I'll tell you, this was something that my husband and I had to have a conversation about because of the nature of what I've done as a career for so long.
Yeah.
My life revolved around being on top of everything that was happening. Being on Twitter, being on Instagram, being on Facebook, not missing, no breaking news. Amy will not miss any breaking news. It's been ingrained in my body. You will not miss any breaking news. You will not miss any breaking news. Well, the problem is,
Yes. You get sucked in. It's kind of like a black hole of
breaking news.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute, I'm missing life. I'm missing this. My daughter, my kids have said, Mom, I'm not even hearing them. Mm-hmm. So I had a friend one time tell me, what do you do when you wake up? When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do before your feet hit the ground? And I was like,
get my phone. Yeah, I do the same thing sometimes.
Well, you know what? Just try this.
Yeah.
Try immediately rolling off the bed on your knees and saying, Lord Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for waking me up. Please direct my every step. Direct my thinking. Direct my actions. In Jesus' name I pray. And I'm going to tell you.
Makes a difference. I mean, you're starting your day by acknowledging God instead of getting kind of caught up into,
Right.
Even if it's not bad stuff, even if you're just checking your email or you're still caught up on whatever
Right.
the urgent is.
Because you think about, okay, well, and it's happened to me time and time again. I just checked my email, but then I logged on to Twitter, then I logged on to Insta, then I logged on to Facebook to make sure I wasn't missing anything. And next thing I know, I'm texting, I'm emailing, I'm calling, and that has my full attention. And here my children are, and here my husband. Because my husband said to me one vacation, he was like, you're on vacation.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be tweeting on vacation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're right. Who's getting me?
Yeah.
Who's getting me?
Yeah.
If your kids are not getting you, if Jesus is not getting you through quiet time, and see, he's already taught me. I don't want him to teach me. I joke, that's a joke. But I listen. I'm just kidding. It's like growing up when your mom said, "Don't ever pray for patience. Don't ever pray for patience because you know what's going to happen. You're going to have a big lesson come your way." So that's what I do. Every single morning and at night before I go to sleep, I'm right there again, and I'm going through my day. What did I do? Do I need to apologize for something I said to my husband? Do I need to apologize for something? And I've learned that. I have really learned that.
That's really good. Community, humility. I love that we were talking about self-talk. Like, how are you going to keep pushing yourself? Like, encouraging that you can do this. It's going to be hard, but you can get through it.
Right.
We talked about that, and just providing that space to be still. I think that's what you talked about, is that prayer. I love how you're encouraging us to pray laying down. I think that's really neat.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's really neat. God, thank you so much for all of this advice.
I'm telling you, it works.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
It sounds crazy. I do that, and did I mention going into my closet and shutting the door and turning off the lights? Nobody knows I'm in there. I do that too.
That's totally a mom move too.
It's totally a mom move, because nobody can reach you in there, and they're like, "Where's Mom? Where's Mom?" I'm like,
I'm not gonna say anything. Shh, don't tell them.
And my kids are older, so I can do that now. Okay.
That's really good, Amy. Thank you so much. This is such an honor. Thank you for sharing your story. I know that this is not an easy thing to do, and so
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time.
That you asked.
Thank you so much. And that is a wrap for our Green Chair conversation with Emmy Speropoulos. Thank you so much for being connected with us today. We'd love for you to take a moment and encourage someone by sharing this conversation with a friend. You can watch any previous conversations on our YouTube channel or at hopechurchmemphis.com/GCC, or you can listen wherever you stream your podcasts. We love you guys, and I'll see you next week.